Amal Hussein is back, one of our JS party animals, one of our favorite people.
Animals?
Yeah, you're a JS party animal, aren't you?
Animal?
Sorry, is
Oh
that
my
offensive?
goodness. No, I've never been quiet. I never heard that term.
Oh, I say
Even
it all
when
the
I was
time.
on the show.
Well,
Party
Yeah.
people.
Okay.
I mostly say it behind your back, in post-production. I'm like, hey, JS party animals. All right. You're also a person. You're also one of our favorite people.
It's like the Octopiper.
Is that a Silicon Valley reference?
Sure is.
Oh, I missed it. Actually, I caught it, but I didn't know why.
Wait, has the show started?
This is real now.
This is real? Okay.
Yeah, the party animals part was magic. She's a JS party person, and she's also one of our favorite persons. And she's back. It's been about a year. You're still doing your digital thing at Istari Digital. You're doing more than you're doing before. Welcome back. Thanks for joining us once again.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be back. I'm like, gosh, do I even know how to podcast anymore?
Right.
I think, as you know, last time I was like, I'm a new mom, and
Right.
it was just really like, now I'm a toddler mom. My son's just started at the Montessori local
wow.
Montessori, which is really lovely. And and I'm like, I feel like work has been in the steady kind of go mode. It's I'm at a rapidly growing company, and it's very exciting to kind of be part of this this growth arc. And so now with my son kind of starting school, I feel like a little bit of expansiveness around like, hey, do I want to start like talking to nerds on the internet again? And I think the answer is yes.
It must be if you're back on the show, Adam. She's here to talk to us nerds.
I'm a nerd. Okay. So there you go. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Thank you. But yeah, so I think since I've last been on the show, kind of continue to kind of grow in my role, and I'm now a director of software engineering, which is like I feel like I'm now back to like baby director or baby role, in the sense that with every new type of challenge, at the very beginning, you're kind of back to square one in some ways, as like learning new ways of working and thinking and being. And so it's been a real like eye-opening journey, and I hope to kind of share some of the things that I've been thinking about and experiencing with you all today.
How do you approach that? Because you've been through many iterations. I would say you've been reinventing yourself over and over again, and here you are again, somewhat reinvented. So you have to have a process or like an approach at this point, because you've done it so many times. How do you enter into something brand new as a baby and navigate that?
Yeah, that's a really great question. I think for me, it's like morbid curiosity. Is that a thing? Right. I think just kind of really be curious and care. I think those are two kind of like secret sauce, kind of like umami factors for like what it takes to be a good engineer. And then, I think as a leader, kind of like adding on top of that, being empathetic, understanding, it's people first and all of that jazz. But I think, to your point of kind of me reinventing myself, I've done a lot of pendulum swinging, where, I've been a high level IC and then a manager and then high level IC and then manager. And even at Istari, I came here as a principal software engineer. And before that, I was a senior engineering manager at Cisco. And before that, a staff engineer at Stripe, right? So it's like I've had this like crazy swing, and I went from principal engineer to principal engineering manager to now director. And I think, I think the driving factor for me has just been like, are the problems interesting, and are the people like lovely, and, are these people who I want to spend, a good chunk of my time with, right? So interesting problems, interesting people, I think that's kind of the one shared thread for me. And I think like, if the equation changes on either of those, right? If the problems are either not interesting anymore, and, or if the people, if like the environment is just not right, like that's kind of where, I think for me, that's where I've been like, all right, time for a change. But I think for me, like I still kind of have the same attitude I did when I was last on the show, which is like, I hope I kind of get to retire with this company. I'm having a ton of fun and growing a lot. And I think it's so hard in this industry to find a place that's really just right for you. And so I feel like I found this place, and my hope is that like as we're growing and scaling, right, it's, as you can imagine, being part of a company that's growing rapidly, it's a little bit of like a banana boat, right? You're like, you gotta just hold on. And so my hope is that like, I'm as in love with this place, in 5 years or 10 years as I am today. So.
Well, I thought about you recently because we were talking with Nicholas Zakis, Slicknet, if you know, about the relative neglected state of NPM. And of course, I think of you in that circumstance. And don't necessarily want to kick into that topic, but just use that to ask you, how does it feel to be out of the browser? Because you're like relatively free from the throes of NPM. I'm sure there's probably some node module folders on your system somewhere, but you're not in the browser anymore. What's up with that? You're like outside of the web.
I'm not in the browser anymore, and also just like LOL at like the demise of NPM. And you think of me, Jerod. Yeah. I need some better associations.
Well, we were talking about like how many people work there and stuff, and I was like, well, I do have some insight because you were working there during the acquisition and all that, and I was like, I didn't bring up any of that on the show, but
yeah. So first of all, I don't think anyone that's using software is able to escape NPM, right? Like both as a user or as, a builder and, or a prompter these days, right? Yes. And so like, there's no escaping it. So I just want to put that out there, set the record straight. That being said, I am working on a whole set of new challenges and new problems and new constraints. And I think that's why I'm like so in love with this role and this job and this company and the problem space that we're in. Because I feel like it's like the nerd's paradise of problems. And, just because there's so many constraints, and then, moving outside the browser, I'm now like what I consider true full stack, which is, we're really dealing with software that's also installed on different clouds as well as different operating systems, and there's a whole host of constraints that kind of come with thinking about that. When you have multiple distribution targets, you have to really, I have a whole new level of appreciation for people that are develop desktop applications, because that is one of the things that I'm also now responsible for. And it is like humbling work. It's very humbling work. The idiosyncrasies between platforms and operating systems, and cloud providers, and dealing with, kind of trying to normalize all of that in a singular code base is a lot, and I think it's been a very rewarding challenge for me and a breath of fresh air, as I feel like, right now, especially in the JavaScript world, I mean, there's still a ton happening, a ton of interesting work happening in the standards world and everything else. But I think for me, the conversations that we were having were just kind of getting tired, specifically around framework wars and, just kind of arguing about rendering patterns. And so I'm just, I'm excited about new problems and excited to be kind of learning a whole new set of things that, come along with that. So
what are your deployment targets? Like what kind of operating systems, what kind of hardware, what are you building?
Yeah, let's start with what I'm building.
What is it you do there?
Yeah, I know. I mean, we were actually sort of semi in stealth last time I was on the show, so I couldn't say as much as I can now. And even now, I'm but we're essentially an infrastructure company for people that build in the real world, right? So think of your mechanical engineers, your aerospace engineers, et cetera. They use all these different kind of digital engineering tools, super expensive licenses, and super, old code bases. Some of these software, they were, some of the software that's still used today to build your airplane was first invented with the Apollo launch at NASA, no kidding. So with all these kind of disparate tools, there's everyone has their own favorite provider and this and that. And so what our kind of infrastructure platform allows you to do is kind of connect all of your data together and kind of give you situational awareness, and kind of you can then pull data out and extract into standard formats, and then you can use AI to do all kinds of things. You can build custom workflows. You can make sure that like as you're building things are still in compliance, right? Because you're able to kind of pull data from like all these different models. So essentially it's a platform for enabling that kind of a digitally threaded workflow for people that like haven't really been able to do this type of stuff before. Like people are emailing each other files with like lots of really sensitive IP, as you can imagine, like people building airplanes and other things, rockets, there's all kinds of really sensitive IP. And there's no easy way for people to kind of collaborate with each other across the same team, let alone being able to actually collaborate with vendors, right? And being able to share like tire specs with, the person making the tire for the plane, for example. So all this software, this infrastructure software that we build at Istari is installed on your network. And so that's the other cool thing. So we're like a GitLab in that like it's installed, self-hosted software, works on your cloud, like all the clouds, including all the gov clouds, right? And one of the things I'm responsible for is kind of our integrations platform, right? So how things get in and out. And we have agents, and we've got kind of a whole SDK for people to like write their own integrations. We have a number of ones that we maintain and write. So in addition to kind of owning kind of like an ecosystem platform, I also own kind of an underlying data platform, in which I can't get into too much, but yeah, I think what's been fun for me is moving into kind of this director role. You really like you get to feel the impact of what it means to be enabling other people to do their best work, right? And how do you like tap into the power of teams? How do you get people to be creative? And so it's just been, while like solving all these hard problems, it's been really like I've also been equally geeking out on like what it's like to work with like really smart people, and shift from always having the right answer to like always asking the right questions, and making sure that like folks are focused on the right thing. So
very cool. So I'm thinking of it like kind of like a GitLab or a collaborative space for engineering data. Is it like more of a data collab? Is it than a code collab? Like what exactly is flowing through these things?
Yeah, I can give you an example that I can talk about, because this one is public, but as you can imagine, like a lot of our customers, I can't can't talk about them, but we are, very, we're doing great in terms of kind of our reach within the industry. But Blue Origin is one of our partners, and we were actually part of an AWS reInvent keynote in October, where they were we can put this in the show notes. They were designing a part for really they're building a moon vacuum. So basically Blue Origin is trying to like survive the lunar night. No one has been able to survive the lunar night because of the huge temperature fluctuation. And it's 2 weeks long. No one's been able to stay on the moon for that long, or nothing has been able to survive. And so they're going to be sweeping up regolith, which is like moon dust. They're using that to like power up a battery. And so, to sweep up this regolith, like it's like a very harsh substance. It's not from Earth. Obviously, there's a lot of like, unique composition to it. And so they need to design the correct kind of cylindrical shape for this moon vacuum that's going to sweep up this moon dust. Blue Origin, leveraging Istari's platform, along with, NTOP, another partner of ours, but they're an actual digital engineering tool. Like they're an actual tool provider. Like they work on like CAD software, basically parameterized models. They were able to kind of leverage, setting up these AI pipelines to kind of do all this rapid iteration, right? Where you can like pull data from their models, give it a bunch of inputs, right? Because we have our platform is code first, so you can string together these complex workflows with AI, and what you can do with Istari is you can set up boundaries for AI, and that's like one of our huge value propositions is like we eliminate AI hallucinations, right? Where you can like sort of vibe code a rocket by because you're able to set the boundaries pretty tightly around like specifications and make sure that like things are still in compliance. And so, Blue Origin was able to kind of leverage AI pipelines to do a bunch of iterations with our software. Our software like helps you, with all of that, connectedness with your data, setting up boundaries for AI. We have obviously an MCP server that like lets you do all the things, right? And so they were able to kind of do all these iterations with the part, developing the part, which kind of like was like 75% faster, 40% like better quality, et cetera. And so like, and those kinds of numbers are pretty huge for people building in the physical world. So I think that's the other thing that's been humbling is seeing workflows for people building like cars and planes. With software, we have a completely different iteration cycle, right? And so I think that's also what's been very humbling, learning about how different life is when you're designing a physical part and how much longer iteration cycles are and how much more expensive it is to be wrong. And so it just takes months and years to like build these huge planes. And so the types of improvements that we bring to the workflow, right, like just kind of like save thousands and thousands of hours like across multiple teams, as well as the kind of unlocks that teams get when they actually have their data in one place and it's connected and they can actually use modern tooling to like essentially talk to their data, right? And so it's just a game changer, right? And so I think we had a very big public company launch this year at AIAA, which is like the like aerospace conference, aerospace and defense kind of conference, like 6,000 plus people in Orlando this past January. And our like CEO was like the keynote, and like we had panels and workshops and booths, and so we're kind of now like talking to the industry publicly. But previous to this, we're in a very fortunate position to have a lot of leadership with like a lot of really great connections, and and so we've been able to we have like a number of partners that are have been very early adopters of our platform, and it's just been very humbling to kind of see what it's like to like make a rocket, design an engine, and how much software can really just up level that whole process. It's really like it's truly humbling stuff. So
are you guys dabbling in the digital twin era where you're like 3D versioning things and stuff like that? So is that what your platform is helping to collab on, is like the digital twin kind of thing?
I mean, I basically, we're the actual, I think we're the only software that I think will help you actually be able to build a digital twin. It's one of the programs that we did was with US Air Force. It's Flyer One. We kind of did a whole digital certification of airworthiness for a drone. Which is like never been done before. And like now Istari like is actually nominated for like the Collier Trophy this year, which is like we're like the first software company nominated for this prestigious award, where like previous recipients of this award like you would know by first name. It's like it's just wild. I mean, so I feel like I'm in this really fortunate position to like be in the middle of this transformation for this whole, it's like an uplift for a whole industry, like shifting their way of working, kind of bringing that forward like several decades. And so
what's the stack? Like, how can you describe like the different languages that make up the stack?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to like maybe. So we use everything from Go, Rust, Python, obviously TypeScript, and just our stack is we use a lot of Kubernetes, right? Because we have Umbrella, Helm charts that kind of do all of this kind of infrastructure containment, right, and complexity containment, because it is installed software, right? So we have to I feel like our whole install process and product is like its own product, right? Like installing complex software that has to run across distributed networks and multiple machines, right? Because we have like a control plane, and then we have a data plane, and then we have agents that are running on people's laptops or in supercomputers, or and so it's distributed software that's installed.
They have to make house calls.
In what sense? Like going into like a skiff, or like
something's going wrong with our self-hosted thing that you installed and is running on our network. Please come and help us fix it.
Yeah. We have what we call forward deployed engineers. That's we've our solutions engineering team that are like embedded with all of our our customers, and so they kind of help like co-manage house calls.
They like work at your customers, but they work for you, but they kind of work for your customers, right?
Exactly, correct. That's exactly what they do. Yeah. And it works really well, by the way. Like when you have, it's so helpful to have someone that's like kind of, cleared with their, with the IT, they've done the background check for that company. They're basically like a subcontractor for that company.
Right.
Right. And so, so it's just really nice to have kind of a quote unquote man on the inside, right? Because then, when you're debugging like complex, these are, we're working inside of the most locked down and secure environments in the world. And so that's the other, really also humbling factor of being in this industry, is just like there's a lot of security concerns, and and as a and rightfully so, right? And so it's there's a lot of additional constraints to kind of like building software, shipping software. There's a lot of compliance standards. Like I feel like my knowledge on like security and compliance standards, like I feel like I could just go like I could go get a job tomorrow as like some like security compliance engineer, really, because like I feel like I'm like, yep, okay, FIPS and this and that, all this kind of jargon that like 2 years ago like I wasn't like thinking about or worried about. I'm now like, okay, like I get it.
What exactly is FIPS?
So FIPS is like a standard.
Is that FIPS or is it something different?
FIPS. It's like a standard. It's a compliance standard for like, how secure like things are, basically to put it like simply, specifically like, if there's FIPS compliant algorithms, and there's FIPS compliant, services, and and there's a whole 400-page book around like what FIPS compliance is in this for this flavor of tool and whatever else, and things like FedRAMP, and there's all these. There's this whole. I mean, this is not my genre, but I'm just saying I have to play in this genre now, right? Like I have to play by these rules, and so it's very different than being some like B2C startup and like just shipping YOLOing, our software has to go through like a lot of like, we do our own pen testing, our customers do pen testing. I mean, it's like a whole, everything from logging to you name it. Like, there's a lot of kind of auditing and just kind of making sanity checks, and like rightfully so, right? Like our customers are installing software from us on their networks, and so it's like,
I flirted with that stuff in my specialization in college, and I got on the inside and started learning the acronyms and reading through the papers, and I thought, this is completely contrary to what I want to do with my life. And I pulled a 180. I just went the other direction. I probably ran as fast as I could away from. It's just so much red tape, right? And just, I mean, with good reason, but not a place that I wanted to hang out.
100%. Yeah, it's
there's good money in it if you can suffer it.
I mean, I'm just saying I'm very grateful for our cybersecurity team, because like they abstract a lot. They, it's so
they silo it away. So you only have to know the acronyms. You don't have to actually like do all the paperwork necessarily.
I mean, I don't have to do the paperwork or any of that, thank God, but somebody is doing the paperwork. Don't you?
Yeah,
Do believe.
Yeah, they got to cross those T's and dot those I's. Otherwise things go haywire.
It's a lot.
Contracts will be lost,
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see, to quite frankly, like, I think there's a lot around how security protocols and compliance tests and whatever else are measured, handled, et cetera. Like there's a lot of opportunity to kind of also just improve how some of that stuff is done, right? Some of the complexity also just generally also creates, I think, confusion and inefficiency. And so it'll be interesting to see, in 5 years or 10 years, like, is this, can we leverage Istari to like also move the needle there, right? Because I think our platform essentially it's an infrastructure platform, and it can be used to solve any problems. And so like, we're in aerospace today because ultimately for us, like, this was the hardest industry to break into. And so if we solve this problem for aerospace, it'll be easy for us to kind of go into any other vertical, like, railroads or cars or finance, medicine, etc. And so, like I'm eager to kind of see what we can do to just make things better, go faster, and so.
So while we're talking about space, and yes, we breezed right over that moon dust vacuum that we probably should not.
It was so cool. Everyone should watch the video. Watch that AWS reInvent keynote, and you'll hear
just vacuuming up moon dust, huh?
Yeah, that they said that. Yeah, they partnered with Istari and NTOP, and so, anyways, very cool.
That's very cool. I'm going to leave this vague on purpose. AI data centers in space. Your thoughts?
I mean, I think there's so much. Yes, I say yes to that, and then some, because so I think like being new to aerospace, right? So I've only been in this industry like just under 2 years now, and holy moly, I didn't realize how big of an industry space was. Of course, like as you can imagine, like being in this, I can't talk about all of our customers, right? I can talk about Origin because it's public, but like I didn't know there were as many space companies as there are, like, and, I didn't realize how big of an industry this is, because you're just thinking like, oh, it's like NASA's sending up like a rocket every 10 years. Like, no, literally like, space cargo, satellites, you name it. Like there's so much back and forth traffic like that goes up and down. And so I think that's been, I mean, it's just there's just so much to explore, both in terms of like humanity's like resourcing needs and energy needs. And, I say yes, like, let's go cannibalize another planet that doesn't have life on it yet. Like, but also like, let's not do something crazy. Like, I don't know, like throw off axes and like, put this little universe into like another tailspin, right? So like, let's tread carefully, but I'm for it. I'm for it. Yes.
Okay.
Like, I mean, I wonder how plausible that is. If we can actually affect space. It's just so big.
if it can be done, we will find a way.
I mean, like, I agree with that, but then I also think like, gosh, it is so far from here to the moon alone, let alone to the next celestial body, Mars, a different planet, an asteroid we're trying to mine. Who knows? But like, could we really affect space in any meaningful way?
I think we're more likely to affect Earth from space, just like low Earth orbit and somehow throw off our gravitational pull or something.
Oh, yeah. It's like, or even like we talked about that before, like shadows. Like, could there be enough satellites in space to create shadows on Earth?
I mean, one day there could be, right? But I'd say like, yeah, I mean, first of all, the number of countries that are also getting into space is like fascinating. Like India is like the one to watch. Like they have like a crazy space programs and space startups. And
what
oh my God, yes.
What are they up to?
They're doing a lot. They're doing like, for example, I'll give you an example of like a commercial space venture that's happening outside, like India led. It's in agriculture where they are basically looking at like heat maps and carbon and basically gases that are being released and like temperature fluctuations of like, places where there's vegetation grown, right? And basically based on that, they're able to do all kinds of analytics and predictive markets for commodities and, give that data to farmers and, and that's like a very interesting use case. And we can put the link to that company in the show notes as well for people to look at. But like, I mean, that's just, there's a lot of different opportunities popping up with space. And in particular, like it's, it's not just like, obviously it's to do with operations back home, right? it's to do with like, it always connects back to Earth, right? And so, yeah. So I think it's interesting how, I don't know, humans are humanity and like humans, I mean, like we are freaking cool. Can I just, I mean, we poo-poo so much about everything that's going wrong in the world, and we don't really focus enough on like all the incredible innovation that's also happening at the same time, you know? And I'm not just talking about AI bros. Like I'm talking about like just real, just ingenious stuff that's happening day to day, you know?
Right.
It's cool. Look how far we've come.
It is cool.
Building rockets and going to the moon. I mean, my goodness, you know? We were like in caves just several thousand years ago.
Like, recently we talked with these folks from Zipline. They're doing autonomous drone deliveries. Started off with medical needs and blood transfusions in Africa, and now it's like they're going to deliver your Happy Meal to your house. And
wow.
it's really cool. I mean, the tech is cool. The use cases, I mean, there are concerns, of course, around noise and like, do we want things zipping around in low, not Earth orbit, but just low Earth atmosphere all day long?
Yeah.
But it's all that kind of stuff. But it is like the ingenuity and not just the creative aspect of humanity, but our ability to like see it through to a product or a conclusion. It is freaking cool. You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah, incredibly cool.
Just vacuuming up moon dust, you know?
I mean, and to use moon dust as a battery source, I mean, that's kind of...
I don't understand it. How does that work? What's the chemistry there?
I mean, you know, it's like, you know, what do you use like to make warmth on Earth? You like cut the trees, collect the wood, right? And so, you know, it's the same idea, right? Like you're just like, okay, you know, same kind of idea, but obviously a lot more science, and that's not, you know, it's like I just write the software, man. All right,
it's higher than even your pay grade there.
I think what's also been really humbling, Jerod, is like I've just kind of fallen in love with aerospace because of just the complexity of it all, right? Like it takes so many disciplines to like make a rocket or make a plane. Like it's a humbling amount of disciplines, and it's a humbling amount of skills that like is required to like make this thing, you know? And we are just one flavor of the many flavors of engineers that are part of this process. And I think like that's also just been very humbling, you know? And I mean, aerospace is just, it's such a romantic industry in the sense that like there's so much romance around like flying, you know, and flying fast and like exploring the sky. And like, you know, it's like this godlike thing that humans have been able to do. And if you really think about it, like it's really quite frankly like one of the greatest things that we've also been able to do as people, right? So yeah, so I don't know, it's very inspiring to be like a small part of that journey now. So
space is cool. Space is the coolest. Do you think about the very, very big versus the very, very small in your job day to day?
Can you say more on that? Like, you mean like the big picture versus like,
yeah, like the very, very big is like space, right? You got celestial bodies, you got the sun, right? And then the very, very small. So we have physics on two different scales, or at least known physics, right? And then physics totally changes from a very, very big version of it to a very, very small. A very, very small is like atoms, right? Nucleus, you know, particles, things like that. And so like a whole different game when you think about tethered particles to each other at the subatomic level. And like that to me is just so wild to think about, because somehow that plays a role in your role in the very, very big, because you have particular materials that you use for certain properties and certain reasons, because they sustain a certain amount of heat or density to sustain travel in space. And so you really have to think about the very, very small to anticipate or even prepare for the very, very big.
Yeah. Oh, and I wish I had the luxury of being able to like do that kind of like big picture thinking, but I think I can only kind of really do that on a podcast or occasionally in like, you know, in like a presentation meeting.
That's why I asked you here.
Yeah, really. Yeah, because on the day to day, yeah, I'm thinking about like the minute details of like, you know, building software, distributed software, and all these different constraints, and like, you know, maintaining, you know, contracts and doing migrations. And that's what I'm thinking about day to day. Like day to day, it's, you know, our work is very inwardly focused. And so yeah, I think that's also, you know, I mean, yeah, the cool thing about building a platform is you're building a platform. You're not building like just a, you know, a tool for this one use case. So I think like, yeah, day to day, like my head is usually around like that. And then just a lot of resourcing management, right? Like I'm always kind of thinking about like who would be the best person to pick this thing up, or who would be the best person to solve this, and like how do I leverage my principal engineer to do this other thing? How do I leverage my other principal engineer to do this other and so it's like always like it's this constant like shifting of resources in order to kind of like optimize your path to getting said thing done, right? But that like then that said thing done, it's like multiplied, right? It's something on a day to day. I'm like 7 or 10 things I'm trying to get done in a day, or
right. 7 and 10 meetings stacked on each other. So it probably is the case. Give us a sneak peek, and first Q1 2026, a small but mighty software startup accomplishing small things.
We're technically not a startup anymore because of our revenue. We're like a scale up now, but
a small but mighty scale up.
Scale up, yeah.
That was almost worse than calling you an animal at the top.
I know.
You just called us a startup. How dare you?
No more. We're growing.
Yeah, none of these names. I'm not going to call any more names. Accomplishing software today in a team. Tools, techniques, processes. Is it agile? Is it not? Is it Jira? Is it Pivotal? Like, give us all the nitty gritty, because you're like in the details daily, using tools, managing people, trying to like corral a bunch of smart people to do something bigger than they can do alone. Give us all of the nuts and bolts.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I'd say like, this is where like making the sausage is kind of like boring in the sense that like there's nothing, I feel like it's, everyone's doing the same thing across companies just in different like ways. So I think for us, we're like we're like light on process where it doesn't matter, and we're not so light on process where it does matter, right? As you can imagine. But I think for me, it's, we're not really dictatorial around agile or ceremonies or whatever. It's like do what's productive and communicate. And so, yes, Jira, unfortunately, I would love to be on Pivotal. I think it's something we are considering in the future. But Jira, lots of spreadsheets, lots of time, road mapping. I've talked about this before in other podcasts, but like, as a lead, you're kind of splitting your time between like the future, the present, and the past, right? Like the past, because you're kind of cleaning up tech debt and there's, old bills that you need to pay right down on your code base and processes and docs or whatever else, other gaps. And then the present, because that's kind of the day to day, and then the future. And as a lead, like I spend a lot of my time in the future because I'm kind of like, I'm like in the expedition ahead of the team, kind of exploring new grounds, finding like, okay, like, yeah, this looks good. We can start making camp here, like that's me day to day. But yeah, I'm doing, really for me, it's a lot of planning, a lot of like design work. Like I'm obviously, we're kind of still a small enough company where, even in a leadership role, you're, very technical and hands-on. And I really hope that I never have to change that about myself, because, I think it's really important to be able to do the work of the people that you are leading, because if not, you like are completely out of touch and like, all kinds of bad things happen. Like you also have no empathy for their problems and all of that. And so just a lot of architecture, a lot of design, code reviews, unblocking folks. Like, yeah, I mean, it's, I think what I'm really most excited about these days, Jerod, is just teams. Like, the power of teams is like really becoming apparent to me, because like I figured out like, wow, like, how do I just enable people to do their best work? And I feel like I've like kind of found the secret sauce of at least that's working for me right now in my company. And it's just really incredible to see people just kind of go, and like the kind of results that you see when people are just like kind of unshackled and unburdened, and when people feel like they have agency, and when people feel like they can, they're engaged and they care, and so in that sense, like I'm having a lot of fun with teams right now. And and the muscle that I'm always going to be trying to grow is how to be how to continually improve my leadership with teams, right? Because I think for me, it's, I'm now at this new mastery level where I'm accountable and responsible for the work of multiple teams. I've done that before as a principal engineer, but I was not accountable. I was responsible. And now I'm responsible and accountable. And so it's like a whole...
How is that different exactly? Spell it out for me as if I'm like 10, not 5, but give me 10. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, so I think it's one thing to like, I'm the person that has to like go to executive leadership meetings and present like our roadmap, or present like, here's what we were delivered, or here's what we weren't able to deliver and why. Right. And so at the end of the day, like, it's on me to answer to like why this is either good, bad, didn't shipped late, whatever, right? Whatever it is. And so I think that's the difference, versus kind of a principal engineer. I would never, for me anyway, as a leader, I would never ever put any of that on an IC. Like anything that goes well is for the team to own and celebrate, right? Anything that doesn't go well is like bubbles up, and that's on leadership. Like that's always, failure always goes up.
Led you the wrong direction kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. And so I think, in that sense, like it's very humbling, and it's a responsibility I take very, very seriously. I'm like enjoying it, and yeah, learning a ton, so there's so much to learn. And I think like maybe the thing that I'm like a little worried about these days is that like we use AI so much, like I use it, in different capacities during my day. I need to find time to learn the old way, right? Because I feel like AI is, yes, it's great at like upskilling quickly on something new, but I feel like I don't have the time, especially as a busy manager now, like to like do that deep mastery of something, right? And like, and you master something through like, suffering a little, burning yourself a little, things like that,
Mm-hmm.
And so I feel like mastery is kind of like a little bit of a dying art, in general. So like, so I want to figure out like, I think I want to maybe pick one thing a quarter or one thing every 6 months to try to really deeply master, whether that's like Terraform or I don't know, like MSI installer, like, I don't know, like anything, and just pick something, something technical to like deeply master. Because I feel like that's just, I feel like AI is like kind of atrophying my skill level there. Like, I feel like I'm not spending a lot of time mastering anything anymore.
Have you heard the term polymath yet in your life, or aspire to be a polymath?
No, I haven't. What's that?
So this is a new term to me in the last 6 months. A polymath, this is based on the dictionary. A polymath is an individual with deep recognized expertise across multiple, often diverse fields, using this broad knowledge to solve complex problems and drive innovation. Often like connecting dots from like, in Silicon Valley, one of the VCs was like, you know what? Burger King uses sesame seeds. I'm going to invest in sesame seeds because there's going to be a cicada issue in X, Y, and Z where these sesame seeds are done. And he made a lot of money. That might be a polymath potentially, but where you have the ability to connect dots from different disparate places and apply them. But it really is around this idea of Renaissance person, which I think in the pre-call you mentioned it, Jerod, and then this idea of deep mastery. Unlike dabblers, true polymaths achieve high-level proficiency at 3 or more fields.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, and honestly, like, so it's really interesting that you say that, because Adam, like, I feel like being at a smaller company that like punches so like all of our customers are like, like, I don't know, 100x bigger than us, for example.
Yeah.
And so we really punch above our weight, and I think as a result of that, I think everyone at Istari is like very good at more than one thing. Right? There's very few people at the company that are just doing one type of thing. And so I think it's been really interesting for me as like a cross-functional leader as well, right? Because like, I feel like I'm doing product work, and I'm doing kind of like IC principal engineering work, and I'm doing like manager work, and sometimes I'm doing QA. Sometimes, like, I feel like there's a lot of, like, I stretch around a lot. And I think that that's also just, I don't know, I feel there's something about that that's also very good for your soul. And when you're in tech, especially because I think it builds a lot of empathy for other people, that you have, like other jobs, other, your colleagues, like you have a better understanding of like what their expectations are of you, and what you if you were sitting across their, the aisle, what you would want, right? And so I don't know, I think it's good to have a little bit of flexibility. I think in many ways that feels like the opposite of what's commonly found in enterprise, where people are so kind of like pegged into just like their little square box, and they have to be as creative as they can in their little square box.
All you can do is that one thing, and you're that one thing. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's why nobody wants to be enterprise guy. Everybody wants to be like startup bro, because startup bro is like fun and gets to do all the things. And it's like, yeah, man, like I'm doing this and that.
Totally.
Whereas enterprise guy, enterprise guys always feels a little soul crushed, Poor enterprise guy. But no, so my hope is, please, let's not, like that's, it's just, as you grow, you never know like how things are going to change. And so I'm like, I hope we can preserve that part of our culture, because I think it's really special for people to be able to do, not necessarily have more than one job per se, but to be able to do more than one thing. Does that make sense?
I like it personally. I mean, I think my brain thrives on novel problems.
Absolutely. Same.
Which is both a good thing and a bad thing. It's totally a curse in a lot of cases and totally a blessing in others. Where like you give me a brand new problem. It's not even my problem. Okay. It's I don't even benefit from this thing. My brain is like, must solve this problem. Okay. My brain will let it go. And it's not a good thing in some cases, but I get to help people along the way, which is always a blessing to me. And, they're like, thank you for solving my problem. I didn't even know that anybody would come by and help me even think about this or care, but my brain really thrives in brand new novel problems. And then it gets really tired of like long-term execution. Like phase 10, my brain is not interested in phase 8 or phase 10.
Yeah, you're like, no more. Yeah, the rewards aren't high enough.
Yeah, my brain's like, no, there's no dopamine there, Adam. Okay, you gotta bail out. Okay.
Yeah, not enough dopamine at phase 10. It's all diluted.
It takes reps and discipline to not do that though.
Yeah, you're early stage guy. Like,
best there, honestly. I really, I think you should be where you thrive.
Yeah.
In a team oriented fashion, but definitely like that is where I'm best applied. I can work effectively in all the areas, but my best and most efficient processes are in the beginnings in the novel and the setting things together and that kind of thing. So I can appreciate desiring to be more polymath, more Renaissance. I aspire one day.
That's amazing. And yeah, that makes sense. And honestly, like, this is the earliest stage company that I've worked for, and holy moly, I'm like, man, I hope this doesn't become a thing, Like, I feel like there's only so many early stage companies you can work for in your career, and so I'm just, like I said, I hope this is it, but it's really fun. I mean, it's like once you you like this space and this stage, it's a little dangerous, because not every company is going to be in Istari, where it's like mature people, successful product,
Sure.
Inspiring and
a lot of bad bets.
world respected CEO. Like, it's like we're a unicorn.
You know what comes next after scale up, don't you?
What? Oh, enterprise. No, I know.
So Istari won't always be, what it is today either. So you never know.
I know. I'm just like, oh my gosh, but no, it's fine. It's fine. No, I think we've got many years of lots of fun ahead. So, so kind of fingers crossed, but yeah, it's, it's just, I say this with so much gratitude, really, because this is really still a very tough time in our industry. And I think on many levels, right? Like philosophically, it's a difficult time. It's a difficult time because there's so much change, but it's also like really exciting because there's all this, like, it's like to quote one of our partners, Steve Massey, he's a CEO and founder of Syskit. We can link to it in the show notes, but he said to me the other day, it's a bad time to be a problem. And I was like, you're right. This is a bad time to be a problem. Lots is happening. A lot of great stuff is happening, but there's also just all this cultural churn, and I think for me, like, one of the biggest drivers of the cultural churn is this like weird, idea that we've been trying to, or I think like, the CEOs of Anthropic have been trying to sell, which is like, all developer jobs or all human jobs, no humans needed in 6 months. Like humans will have no jobs in 6 months. Like just this ludicrous idea.
That was at least 9 months ago.
Well, Jerod and Adam, I'm trying to understand, like, why are humans, I mean, like, I don't even, like, why do humans think that they don't need other humans? Like, I mean, ultimately, like if I'm solving a problem, it's always going to be to make another human's life better. And it's not going to, and so I just, this notion of like, oh, we're not going to need humans, or people taking joy in the demise of software engineers, or the just kind of dismissing human work. Like, maybe people will be doing less menial work by all means, but I think like we'll still be people, there'll be new problems to solve, new jobs. I think I sit squarely in that camp. So I don't know. So I just am saying it's a weird time, so I feel like I'm in this like little happy bubble, but I'm very aware of like, the festival that is like, the tech industry right now, so
for now, I take solace in the fact that code is easy to generate, but products are hard to build. It's pretty easy to like just generate some code, and I say that as a participant in the generation of code.
100%. Yeah.
But building a product that is actually useful and solves a problem it really takes a lot of taste. It takes a lot of connected dots across different disciplines.
Oh my God. I know.
It's not just like, Claude, give me X, give me Facebook, and you get, bye Zuck. Okay. You're done, man. Like I just generated Facebook. Yeah. Okay. It's done. You can't do that. You can't generate product that easily if you can at all.
I work 8 to 10 hours a day. Don't work weekends. And so I know firsthand, like that it takes all of the things that you just said. Right. I think that was also some of the thesis with Nicole Ferguson's latest book, right? Frictionless.
Frictionless?
Yeah. Frictionless. Yeah. It's kind of like the follow-up to Accelerate. And so it's like, her thesis was like, if AI can like spit out code in like, 40 seconds, why does it still take software teams months to ship software? Right. And so she kind of talked about that whole thing that you're just describing. But like, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I just wish that we would, it's this weird like greed factor with capitalism. Like that's like, I'm a capitalist, but there's aspects of capitalism like I don't like. And this is one of them, where it's this, zero-sum game kind of situation with resourcing and talent and humans. And I don't know, I just feel like there's like the world, and there's so much more abundance like in the world than I think people make it seem, and so there's kind of like, scarcities.
Well, it's in their best interest, right? To make you feel like that.
Correct. So.
Which, damn them for doing so.
Indeed.
But smart, because, hey, that's how they make their money. Because, that's just the way it works.
Exactly. So, yeah, I don't know. Weird times. I mean, you guys are in it. You tell me, Jerod, like what's happening? What's the sentiment these days? Like, what's the temp? Still not great. I know the ZERP days are over, but still not great.
I think we're still in the wait and see holding pattern. I think we're all aware that the tools have gotten way better over the last year, even if the models haven't gotten way better. I think that's
right.
The current trend is the tooling and the ability to give tools to the models, and the good old fashioned software engineering that has been built up around models that are like nominally better than they were a couple of years ago have just really unlocked a lot of productivity. And recently, so much so that, I mean, a while loop and a tool and a large language model can do amazing things right now. I think we're all seeing that, but it's unlocking more productivity from smaller teams, from indie developers. But what Adam said hits the nail right on the head. I mean, you still have to be able to create, maintain, and build. Hopefully not in that order. I did it out of order, but you know what I mean? Software products, not just software.
Yeah.
And that is still very much, and I think will be for a while now, the playground of humans.
Yeah. Yeah. And humans need humans, guys. Can I just put that out there? Humans need humans. Stop trying to take humans out of the equation in the sense that, like, this notion that, like, there's going to be one person running $1 billion company, like, just barf at that. Okay. And also just, yeah, like,
It's more possible than it has ever been, though, right? You have to admit that.
Yeah, I think it's not necessarily impossible that somebody gets there.
Yeah. Is it healthy? No. I mean, is it possible? Yeah. It really is possible.
But that person's going to be a pretty talented person. They're not just, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
I think it's this falsehood.
Or just stupid. Like at that point, like you could scale, right? You would do it for bragging
or
rights.
ruthless, maybe all those things.
Yeah.
It's $1 billion company that runs in one time zone. Got it.
There you go.
Anyways, but no, I mean, it's all good.
What is the time zone?
I think I'm just a little bit bitter about all of the, oh my God, there's going to be no software engineering jobs in 6 months. And I'm worried about like what that's done to like the pipeline.
They're going to be wrong.
People entering our industry.
Yeah. You could do more with less, but you can't, there's going to be more to do. And you're just not going to get to the place where we're gone completely. It's just not going to happen. Not in this lifetime, maybe the next 10 years, just because like when you can, it would be stupid. It wouldn't make any sense to create a tool that can generate so much and then say you won't need humans because who's going to do all the generation stuff later on? Like even that alone, there's going to be more software and more software. All this software is for humans. I mean, at some point you can sort of like program the AI to do its thing in perpetual motion, like a Ralph loop. But even then you got to have a human in the loop or on the loop to define the spec and to have actual value in it. So I just don't see software engineers going away. I see more software getting created. Correct. And more engineers need to be born and grown and trained. Correct. And it may change. It may drastically change from what we saw as software engineering beforehand. But I think we'll see a groundswell of new development. I mean, it's certainly a new groundswell of open source. There's a lot more out there now.
I think the shape changes.
Yeah.
The org shape, the team shape, those things change necessarily.
Yeah.
But there's just more smaller. I think there's more smaller things and less big things.
We were saying before in our call today, Jerod, we mentioned the pizza team size. There's the idea that, back in the Getting Real book from 37 Signals, I believe they prescribed a 4-person team, maybe a 5-person team, like 4 engineers, 1 designer, or some sort of leader, I believe was their prescription. And then Jeff Bezos, kind of coined the idea of a two pizza team, I believe is what it was.
Yeah, 2 pizzas.
Which the idea was like 4 people or less. Could you consume 2 pizzas with 4 people or less? Probably, right?
I think it's more than 4 people. I think it's closer to 6.
It's 2 pizzas. Well, you haven't seen the way we eat here in the Midwest.
That's right.
I think it's 2 large pizzas. Yeah,
I'm speaking from experience here. Okay, I'm a half a pizza guy. I'm 1 person.
Yeah,
multiply me by the amount.
Yes. Actually, Adam and I together are a 2-pizza team. It turns out,
Yeah. Oh, that's so funny.
So I think we'll see the pizza team shrink maybe to 2 people.
Yeah, I think there's certainly a trend, and there will be a trend of, smaller teams, right? Because I think, but I think there will be lots of small teams, right? And to your point, like definitely the craft is changing, as it should, right? It's, and I urge everyone to like, change along with it. Right.
Right.
So it's definitely, that's very important and it's uncomfortable, but you'll be better for it. If not, there's a big need for blue collar jobs if you're in North America,
For sure.
You can like retrain as an electrician or all kinds of need for other high paying,
which could be more lucrative in certain scenarios as well. And perhaps even a more enjoyable way to make a living.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But certainly there will be job displacement. Things will change. But if you look at Jevons paradox and you look at these things, like historically, when we've been able to do more with less, which is what these tools let us do, we can do more with less. Humans have never chosen less. Like, oh, we can do more with less. Let's do more. And it's just always been more. And that's the ambition and the drive and the ingenuity of the human race is more. So we're not going to do less. We're not going to choose that. We're just going to do more, which will require more people. The more you do, the more people you need.
That's what took us to the moon, right? I mean, like we want to preserve that. But there's also just like, I don't know. I mean, I get this is where I feel like, I'm a capitalist that's like pro like regulated markets. I mean, and obviously also quite frankly, like I think, any real capitalist would be pro regulated markets. And, this kind of like flavor of extreme capitalism that we're in right now is very odd, but, there needs to be checks and balances. And so I think it's, for me, what's lacking in the tech industry right now is just like examples of good leadership, like at mass, right? Like certainly pockets of leadership at companies and whatever else, but just as an industry, like who are we all like looking up to right now that's like doing it right? Like, I'm not looking to like any one particular company or leader that's like, just like this, very inspiring. Like there's this kind of like FOMO, follow each other like culture that's just very common with with tech. That like I don't know. I'm curious to hear if you all can think of like inspirational leaders that we have right now.
What do you know about this paradox you mentioned, Jerod? Like how much deeper can you go on this?
You're probably looking at the Wikipedia entry right now, so go ahead.
Oh no, I'm not. Well,
oh, you're not.
Well, I could tell you the definition of it. I just want to thought experiment a little bit because this is what we've been talking about today, pretty much, but just not with this really cool term, Jevons paradox. That's a good thing to say. I think it's cool. I can tell you what it is if you want me to. Let me do that.
Oh, for sure.
The Jevons paradox occurs when technological advancements increase the efficiency with which a resource is used, but the resulting lower cost of consumption causes total demand for that resources to rise rather than fall. And one of the examples it gave was LED lights. As lighting, LED lights became more efficient and cheaper, but people tend to light their homes more extensively now and for longer periods. So that's one obvious example. I think we're going to see that with software because now it's a lot easier to build bespoke software in scenarios where it was just inefficient in terms of economics and inefficient in terms of team size, team size. You're going to see more and more bespoke software become plausible. And not that SaaS is dead or dying, but like you won't only apply SaaS to a problem because SaaS has largely been the only funded, possible, team-worthy, secure, FIPS, you name it, applied. But now maybe you can do it in a bespoke manner where you just wouldn't do it before because now you can, and it can actually fit the problem better. That's what I wonder about this is like, I'd never heard of this paradox before, but this totally seems to apply on this is we'll see, the costs go down to produce the code, but the product still takes a lot of effort, but the code is easier to get to. Now you just can apply more people to the code problem. You got more bespoke products out there that solve software problems.
Yeah, absolutely. And then you also have a lot more people who don't know anything about software, writing software. Like then you have a whole cottage industry of people patching security holes for vibe coded apps, right? Like, it's not that I definitely would put my money in some security companies or like fix-it companies if I were,
I invite that though. I mean, I want some vibe coders out there, right?
I invite
That's
that.
Like, we can't be against that because as an industry, we've been like, welcome the newcomer for a decade. Right. And there's been like in-wars and infighting and conference, like get new people here, sponsor them to come. Like it's the same thing. It's literally the same thing. It's like vibe coders who were never invited now have an invitation, unfettered. You can't stop me. And they're making things. And just because they're not smart, like we have been smart, we've been here for 20 years or more. It's like, well, you can't downplay that. That's just it's a newbie. We have to embrace the newbie and find ways for them to become more advanced in thinking and understand engineering is around software and welcome them and not like downplay the vibe coder. Like I think that's just generally not good for us to do.
Yeah, I think you're right. I am eager to kind of see how we as a community make space for I think that person, right? Like that persona. I think the challenge is that there's not necessarily an interest in like going deeper into the craft, right? And so like where do you draw the line for someone? Like I don't know. I guess maybe it's that like we need to re-examine the word like builder. Like what does it mean? Like are you like a builder that also like goes are you like builder to foundation or are you just builder to surface, right? Like I feel like vibe coders are just like they're surface level builders, but builders nonetheless now, right?
Yeah.
And so I think we're kind of just a more expanded like definition of builder. Like
I think the successful vibe coder becomes a engineer, or they are no longer successful. Like as the thing that they vibe coded becomes viable and useful,
100%.
they either find a way to acquire those skills or hire an engineer to work with them or whatever it is, or that thing just goes away and doesn't actually survive. So I feel like there might be some like survival of the fittest mechanism that just kind of takes care of that problem. And yeah, I mean, all of the stupid demos people post online to like get the clicks or whatever, they can just have their fun and get their clicks, and they're either going to become serious about it or they're going to get hacked and then it's going to be a disaster for them, or, there might just be like, that problem might just work itself out.
I agree with that 100%. I think it will work itself out.
Yeah. Curious to see how that plays out for sure.
Well, there's only so long you can build on quicksand, right? If you build something on quicksand, which is kind of like vibe coding, if you build on quicksand, it's going to topple, or you sell it before it topples and the next person gets the topple. It's like, somebody else is holding the bag.
You think people ideas, Adam? Is that what's going on?
I think it's happening, right? You see somebody build something, innovate so fast, create this groundswell, some investor or some team of private equity wants to get in. They're hungry, they're greedy. So greed, I mean, that sort of like befalls most downfalls. Is like, you're going to get greedy, maybe acquire something because you think it's going up. Meanwhile, the person's a vibe coder. And it's not that's a bad pejorative to apply to somebody. It's just like, well, it may not be as secure as it should be. It may not have the thought process as it should be. And it may be built on quicksand more so than it is on a solid foundation. So I think it's more likely a vibe coded app is insecure than it may be secure. But, a year from now, this may not age very well because vibe coding you may actually have models that sustain vibe coders. Like, hey, I know you're not that smart. I know you want this thing, and I'm going to give you security for free. And maybe that's where Anthropic takes us, or whoever takes us. It's like, in a year from now, that may not be true.
That would be very good for the health of the internet if LLMs like kind of like, yeah. But that's also kind of somewhat scary though, because then they're doing more than, I mean, they kind of already do more than what you tell them to do, but you know what I mean? There's like, they're taking like creative liberties that are like,
Yeah. Let me share this article with you. This is kind of fascinating to me. Like early 25, we're in 26 now, if you didn't know. Early 2025, it was generally taboo to say that you were basically not possible because the models weren't that great, but you weren't really saying that a majority of your code was written by AI. It was generally taboo to say that. By mid-year 2025, it was like some of my code is being written by AI, or a lot of it is being written by AI. Now you have, well-respected, well-capable engineers in the end of the year, now going into this year, saying all of my code, not only is it written by AI, I don't even look at it anymore. Like in a year's time, you have that leap of change from societal acceptance and willingness to even say that.
But weren't there like a bunch of Windows bugs with the latest version of Windows? Like basically like everything everything was broken. I
mean, isn't it already broken?
I'm just saying,
who's using Windows these days?
What I'm saying is that like this attitude of not even going to look at it is kind of scary, because we've talked about this before, right? Like there's a throughput problem with like generating more code, and developers' definition of done is like when they're done coding. But no, somebody needs to code review your code, or maybe more than one person even, and then it needs to get tested. Someone needs to verify that it does the thing right. It needs to get deployed. It needs to not break things, right? It needs to commingle and live with other code. And so this idea that you kind of need humans in the loop for many of those things. You certainly can employ AI agents for a lot of that nowadays too. However, where's kind of your human in the loop that's like verifying quality, right? Given that we know these things kind of very often go off the rails, right? So I mean, for a real production code base, someone saying that they don't even review or look at things generated by AI, I'm sorry, maybe I'm going to be uncool, but I that's not.
Say it. Go say it.
I wouldn't hire that person, to contribute to a production code base.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, it's one thing for your side projects, but yeah, no, you need to you need who's, yeah, I am still
in your industry for sure, right? You've got physical objects being created, money being wasted when it's wrong, lives at stake when it's in the sky. Totally makes sense in your industry. But then you have like software, straight up only software products being created, and they're solving a brand new novel problem. And I don't even have a brand in mind when I think about this, but I can imagine the desire to not look at your code anymore because you want to just like drink the Kool-Aid and say, trust the model.
Trust the model, sure.
Just in time do this. And maybe once or twice you get a good result and you don't get bitten. And if you're solving an inconsequential problem where it's not table stakes or lives are at stake, maybe you get a calculation wrong, or maybe an email doesn't get delivered. Maybe that could be an issue too, because like maybe that's a money email or something like that. But that's aside from the point. Where there's not lives at stake, I can see someone pushing the boundaries. And I kind of welcome that too, because you want some people who are willing to go out and recon, right? Yeah. Go out into the potential danger zone and bring back the potential good or bad things. And they may be the ones who are just the early testers of this crazy idea that we eventually all just subscribe to.
Yeah.
Not tomorrow, but maybe 2 or 3 years from now.
No, I hear that. I think that's the beauty of like the world, in the sense that like we all work on different types of problems with different constraints and different like levels of risk, right? To your point. So yeah, I say go for it. Obviously I can't take that risk, but I think like, I hope maybe one day we can. Like I work at a very AI forward company. And so, but I am a very
striking the balance.
Yeah, I'm personally very conservative with my risk tolerance.
Well, I can speak to Adam's arc because I kind of lived that arc to a certain extent. Now, this is all personal side projects or like low stakes code, but I experienced, because we continually try these things over time, my own response to AI generated code going from like, this is terrible, and then later being like, this is not great. It offends me, but I understand that this would also work. I would never write this. To being like, actually, that's something that I would write. To being like, actually, that's a little bit better than I would have thought of it. That's a good idea. And then you watch it generate long enough and you're like, 9 times out of 10, it's like darn near perfect. And then eventually you're just like, why am I even looking at it? Like, it's just this like
Amen, Jerod.
Frog boiling in the water over the course of a couple of years. I still look at it. I still talk to the thing and say, no. Let's not do it that way. Let's do it this way.
But there's a lot of guidance that you're having to do as an experienced engineer. That's the thing. Like
I'm super involved in it. I'm still super involved in it, but I trust it way more than I used to, just because of the exposure, just continually using it as they improve.
Yeah, no. I mean, listen, this is like a brave new world, right? I'm not against the usage here. It's more just around like for production code,
serious business.
Just making sure that there's a sanity check on that.
Totally.
on that patch. That's all. Just saying, because then there's also just like a lot of really interesting stuff popping up now around like all this kind of like prompt injection where, it looks the same to your naked eye, but it doesn't, because like this is like a special character that's, this and that. And like, I think that's actually the thing that we should be worried about a lot more, because like that's something anybody like that can.
Are you getting those from Stack Overflow? Those prompts?
Yeah. How are you going to get injected on this prompt?
No. People like just copying.
Oh, prompt copiers? That's like worse than.
No. People copying output that's been generated by an LLM. Yeah.
Be careful with that copy paste, folks.
Yeah. Copy paste is like, so you got to like kind of sanitize all of that. And the fact that like you can have like, you can do prompt injection, like with the OpenAI browser, right? Like it's so easy to do prompt injection on there, like with, like with an image.
Are you running AI browsers yet?
Oh, hell no.
Me neither. I do not want an AI in my browser. I know lots of people do.
Same. I don't. I'm just like,
you guys are thinking about it wrong. I'll tell you, you're thinking about it wrong.
Okay, Adam's gonna open our eyes.
Let me school you guys, okay?
Okay.
So your personal browsing, my personal browsing, I'm with Mel. Oh hell no. Now, when I'm researching something that I'm trying to learn or recon or go get information? Yeah. Oh, hell yes.
Well, let it go read web pages for you. Is that what you mean?
Yes. Yeah. Well, sure. I mean, browse the web on my behalf and pull back information, please. Oh, 100%. Thank you. 100%. So yes, in that case, AI browser all the way. Give me more. But my daily driver in Safari read an article with AI. No.
Yeah.
It's not my intention. I still want that liberty to read what I want to read. Okay.
You want an unfiltered view of the universe.
Yeah. I don't need AI everywhere with me like that.
Yeah, exactly. Us old school web people just reading web pages, like who does that?
Ladybird will keep us intact. Ladybird will probably not, I assume this, I haven't even actually investigated this, but I assume Ladybird will not add AI to Ladybird.
Oh, the browser?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a pure play.
I think they'll resist it for as long as they possibly can, if at all.
Ladybird's going to stay pure. That thing's just going to render websites and get out of your way.
So I think if we always have a pure browser, we're good to go. But I mean, the way I synthesize information is not with an AI with me at all times. I have some version of an AI with me, in close proximity, but I certainly don't lean on AI to think for me. I do synthesize a lot of information, though. I do.
And in close proximity sounded like, it does. you have like AI girlfriend in your pillow. That's what it sounds like.
I mean, I got the phone right here. The phone has Claude on it. I mean, like
always within 10 feet. Okay.
AI, where you at? Hello.
I'm not gonna go within 10 feet without an AI.
No, AI is not nearby. They're not listening.
Oh my god. I'm recovering from a cold, and so I have like a very I don't even what's that like raspy laugh right now, and you're just like it's making me want to cough. Yeah, I sound like I've been smoking for 40 years. That's what it sounds like,
That's beautiful. Yeah.
I'm like
perfect for radio.
Perfect for radio. Yeah, perfect.
Yeah, I would say most AI things you think you have a reaction to, I would pause, take a step back, and think of it from a different perspective, because our first thought is personal. Our first thought is almost even offensive or offended, because we are the developers and engineers that are getting quote unquote replaced. I say nay to that. And I think that we just need to rethink how we leverage this brand new tool in a whole new way. And there's a lot of people who are naysayers about it, and they're just not thinking of it right. And you got to just reframe your thinking about it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm all for AI use, 120%. I think for me, it's about use it safely, and safety comes there's many flavors of it, right? I personally fall into the camp of no AI for kids, specifically because we don't really have good guardrails in place for a lot of things right now, and so adults without mental health issues, that's ideal target audience for AI, because really, no kids. And then, if you're using it for anything important, financial transactions or just important things, just, use it. Just have a human in the loop verifying stuff. That's it, right? So it's just, for me, it's just about be smart, right?
Here's an idea for you on these things too. What if you wrote a program to verify the program? So rather than just writing tests in your integration, for example, what if you actually said, okay, let me assume my tool is deployed. Let me actually write a program that acts as I would. I'm going to program it with my intellect and how I would think about it. And it's going to automate future atoms to test this thing. You got to reframe the way you're thinking about it. You really do.
100%. Actually, that's kind of the way I prompt now. I always ask AI to write the software for the thing that I like if I'm trying to do analysis for something or whatever, I always actually have it write software and tests so that I know what's changed. So just 100% agreed.
Yeah, test passing is table stakes. Having a test harness external from the actual application is not tables. It's now table stakes.
Now it's table stakes, yeah.
Yeah, now it's table stakes, but that's how we have to think about it.
And it's darn near free. That's the best part about it. I mean,
it is free, Jerod. I mean, it's so low cost. It's basically free.
That's why everything is kind of cool. It's might as well.
Remember how hard it used to be to write tests?
Yes.
Because most of the time, I hate to say it, but your code's a little shitty and not well isolated, so it's really hard to write good unit tests. And then you're oh. I
have no idea what you're talking about.
Hard for me to
cannot relate.
How do you do dependency injection? Dependency injection tests.
Yeah.
Remember that? Remember that nightmare? God, I haven't
mocking and stubbing. And should I even mock anyways? I'm not supposed to mock, but I kind of have to because
you spend a whole day mocking.
You spend a whole day writing mocks, and then you go read a blog post from some guy who says you should never write a mock, and you're like, oh.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I was a bigger fan of like just setting up like an intercept server and then like leveraging like spies and, like more so than mocks. Like, so your mock is at the network layer,
Sure.
That's kind of nice. But
yeah, that is nice.
I want to hear more about these spies, man. These spies and mocks.
Oh yeah, spies are the best. Spies are like, you're spying on a function or during like, at runtime. And so you can see kind of like what parameters it was called with and like, was it called? How many times was it called? And, so it's pretty cool. Yeah. One of the
interesting.
Yeah. Just, I feel like there's gonna be a whole generation of engineers that are just never gonna have to, they probably never won't even know what a spy is,
And good
like
riddance.
they shouldn't have to. Exactly. To your point. Like they should not have to. Like we've moved on to
well, it's kind of like the
pastures.
classic old man yells at cloud paradox is like, I suffered, therefore you should have to suffer. Like that's kind of the mindset. I get it because there's times where I'm like, you know what? We used to have to write our tests.
I think that's what's keeping minimum wage down in the United States. So, yeah.
That might be a multivariate factor. There might be more than one factor there.
Exactly. I agree.
So where do we go from here? You guys have deployed a lot of cool stuff inside of, is it Istari?
Istari. Istari, yeah.
Istari. You've got Go, Rust, Python, TypeScript, and Kubernetes, the cadre of winning phrases in our tech world these days. Anything else behind the scenes there? Any Ruby involved anymore?
No Ruby, but we have a whole layer of different integrations, for different kind of digital engineering tools and tools that you use, like, Word or whatever, right? Like it's, we basically have integrations for all the software that people do for their jobs. And so that is written in whatever is the best SDK language for that integration. And so, that kind of brings our language count up pretty high, right? Because it's like C# or Java or, sometimes it's Python if we're lucky, right? But, I think that's, we've got stuff written in all kinds of languages as a result of that. But yeah, core platform is in those kind of more kind of traditional languages. And yeah, I think in terms of like what's next, I think, like every scale up, we're kind of at, we're just kind of growing our platform. And what's really great is, we have this like strawman that was built and then we kind of like iterated on that. And so now it's like, it's interesting to see, like, I'm at the like maybe fourth big juncture of the platform, just, and to kind of be part of like a growth cycle for like living, breathing software, going through so many big growth spurts has been very fun, right? Because like I've never joined a company this early. Usually we're just kind of refining like much more narrower verticals, and so to kind of be like growing horizontally, to be getting taller and bigger is fun, and so that's kind of that's what we're all kind of going through, building more services, building more features, making our platform like just, integrate with more things. And just in general, like, yeah, we're doing a lot of great stuff with, supercharging our kind of AI workflows. And yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's like, what a time to be alive and not a good time to be a problem, right? Like, to go back to that earlier quote.
That's right. Yeah. Getting solved real soon.
Exactly. Getting solved real soon. And yeah, I mean, I think like, with all the things that are happening in the universe today and all the uncertainty in the world, like I feel between kind of enjoying what I do and just kind of also on a personal level, I'm a mother and it is like the best thing ever for me. I'm really enjoying mommyhood and it's a deeply nourishing thing for me. And, I just feel, like I said, I just feel I have a wonderful community of friends. And so I feel very blessed. And so, no complaints from me, so now it's like, Amal's eager to kind of reconnect with people. I think I'm going to like maybe speak at a conference this summer and try to go to another tech conference as a non-speaker so I can have actual fun, maybe in the fall. And yeah, I'm just like excited to kind of reconnect with more of my tech community friends, because I feel like I've kind of lost touch with some people, right? Because like people who I knew because of community engagements and things like that, we're not as in touch anymore. And the people who I stay in touch with are the people who I had like very close personal relationships with. And so I'm eager to kind of like reconnect. And then the other big thing is like, I know I say this like every year, but like, I think I'm actually going to try to get active on LinkedIn this year.
You said that last year.
I said that last year, because I'm like, I actually have to do it. I did update my LinkedIn profile to at least show my Istari job history, which is great. So that's done. But all I get is weird recruiter spam. And like, it's just, I'm not even active on LinkedIn, and I get all these weird messages. And like they find my personal email somehow, which I don't even know how. I think they like reverse engineer GitHub commit messages is my guess. But basically, or there's tools to do this. Basically, I'm gonna try to like do the corporate worship meets like work Facebook thing. But I think for me, it's just that like I feel like I've kind of lost a social platform, because the only one that I was active on was Twitter, and like Twitter's kind of turned into a little bit of a Nazi bar, and so I don't know where my new place is. And Blue Sky feels a little too much like an echo chamber. So I'm just kind of like, I don't really know. I mean, and it feels like maybe LinkedIn, but like, I don't want to post on LinkedIn all the time. So I don't know, y'all. Please help me. Where do I go to like connect with my peoples? Because there's some diehards that are like still on Twitter, but a lot of people I know are either not active or gone. And then the people that I've taken over on Twitter are like,
are you down with a little bit slower social network?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, slow's my speed right now. So
like less like real-time interactive?
Yes.
Well, set up a blog, RSS feed, posse it out to all the sites, subscribe to each other's blogs, and we'll read each other's blogs, and then we'll just...
Oh, you think we should go back to like blogging? Yes. I mean, that would be a great idea, actually.
I think so.
But then we'd have to figure out what stack we're going to use for our blog. I mean, like, we're going to...
That's the most fun part,
And how many times are we going to rewrite it before releasing it?
Think how many podcasts we can do about our new blogging stack.
You know what, Jerod, really, I still am an aspiring writer. Like, you know this about me. Like, I have like books that I want to write on digital literacy. And they're not for the people listening to this podcast. They're for people that are not listening to this podcast. It's for your grandmas and your cousin that is like computer illiterate, or your 13-year-old that like only knows how to use apps on a phone and not a computer. You know what I mean? And so that's definitely an audience that I'm eager to kind of reach at some point. But yeah, I don't know. Blogging might be a good idea. Actually, that's a good idea. Would you start a blog with me? Would you write?
I have a blog.
I'm saying like, will you like refresh your blog? Will you like?
Oh yeah, I'm refreshing my blog already. So you refresh yours, I'll refresh mine, Adam his, and we'll just write on our blogs, and we'll talk to each other there, and then we'll follow you can join the posse party. You just post to your blog, and then your blog syndicates it out to all the networks. So people who don't want to come to your blog, they see that there. Maybe they'll stop over, have a read.
I love that idea. I think that's
it's very indie web. The indie web is cool again.
Indie web is, yes.
What would be a good platform for that? Mine's already in Jekyll.
Jekyll works.
No, is it in Jekyll?
I just converted from Jekyll to Hugo.
Yeah, I was going to use Hugo.
Hugo's super simple. You can have Claude just take my, I have a Jekyll blog. This is like literally what I did. I have a Jekyll blog. Here it is. You're in its directory.
This is your prompt. You're going to inject this?
Something like this. Yeah. Yeah. Copy paste this. Okay. And I'll put some special characters in there. Convert this to Hugo, dude. Like quick. Dude. I want to get blogging. That's basically what I said. And then I said, thank you. So awesome at the end.
Dude, where's my blog?
Dude, where's my blog? Yeah. That's a really good title of something.
Title of something.
You should be a writer.
Listen, I'm telling you, Jerod.
I will subscribe to your blog.
Well, yeah, no, I would love, I will definitely give it some thought. I think writing is definitely, I mean, it's like a healthy medium. I think there's like a few things that everybody should do, which is like everyone should sing, everyone should write, everyone should dance. Yes. Everyone should cook something, know how to cook something. They don't have to be a good cook, but they have to know, like, make a really good omelet or make a really good tuna salad or like know how to do one thing well in the kitchen. Yes. You know, I think these are all, yeah, I think these are all good rules for life, you know, but singing, writing, they feel like different forms of like expression, you know, that I feel like are really like, especially for knowledge workers, like we spend a lot of time in here. I'm pointing to like my head for those who are listening, and like, it's good to kind of get it out, right? It's good to kind of be in your body and or be in the physical reality a bit more. Yeah. Like, you know, we spend a lot of time doing cerebral tasks. So do more cerebral tasks like writing, but like writing for me comes from a different place than solving problems. So
it's more inside. Yeah. It's more you.
It's more inside. Yeah, exactly.
I get it. I love it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it's great. All right. Well, we'll see you in the blogosphere.
See me in the blogosphere, and then, yeah.
And maybe on LinkedIn. See, with that, all you have to do is you set up your blog to you just posse party your blog over to LinkedIn. This is what I've been doing. And it just lets people know, hey, I wrote something. Come read it.
That's a good idea. Yeah.
You don't have to even go there.
It's just like, you know, I feel like this like teenager, you know how like when teenagers are like dragging their feet about something because they don't think it's cool, they like inherently think it's lame. That's how I feel about LinkedIn, to be honest with you. Like I think for so long I've like looked down on it. Like, you know, like some like.
You feel like a hypocrite to come use it now.
I feel like this, like, yeah. But you know what? It's okay. You know, there comes a time where every person must change.
It sounds like you're trying to talk yourself into quit smoking or something, you know? Gosh.
I try to go to the,
There comes a time where I need to just have an intervention.
There comes a time. So
that reminds me of an old Mitch Hedberg joke about flossing. He says, you know, as hard as it is to quit smoking, that's how it is for him to start flossing. He's got this whole bit on how much he dreads starting flossing. So that's what you sound like you're going to do. Mitch Hedberg.
Okay, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, flossing. Just like using LinkedIn, you know?
Yeah, but it was great catching up with y'all.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I don't know. This felt like a much more mature show than our usual like discussions.
Our party animal stuff, yeah.
I'm like, I can't believe you started the show calling me an animal. I was like, wait, what? It's like, what am I a J? You know, and it's so funny. I think it took me a minute because you're talking like about JS Party and that whole era, and like, you know, JS Party was like definitely one of the things that I'm the most proud of. I think, you know, something I love, and like I'm really, really considering like, maybe podcasting again for real, you know. Okay. Which is great. I mean, I couldn't obviously, like, it couldn't be like an ML show, right? It would have to be like as an ensemble, right? So that I could kind of spread out the commitment. But it's something I definitely want to get back to. Maybe not right this second, but definitely in general. But I think for now, I'm happy to kind of do the circuit as a guest and like catch up with folks such as yourself, you know? So I think that's at least one way I can kind of like re-experience this. But I feel so much more serious, and I don't know why. I'm like, maybe because I'm sick.
Yes.
No.
Well, you're a mom.
Oh, come on. Moms can't have fun. Come on,
no,
Jerod.
No, you can't have fun. You're just more serious.
That's not fair. You know, you're not my real dad.
I'm never calling you another name. I can't even call her mom and get away with it, you know?
No, moms. No, I mean, maybe it is because I'm a mom. I don't know. Maybe, but I don't know. You know, I don't think so. I feel, honestly, I feel like we're doing something really important at Istari. And I think I feel the weight of that importance. Like, you know, when you are like changing, when you know you're changing something in a big way that has like a big ripple impact, like that's how I feel, you know, because it's like we're doing something so revolutionary for this industry, and we're doing it in a way that's so, you know, it's decentralized and it's very open, and like, you know, we have like, you know, you plug into our platform. We don't care about like this tool or that tool. We're kind of agnostic about so many things, and that, you know, it feels like we're doing something good. And I think like the weight of that is kind of what's translating into like the seriousness. But I feel like, you know,
no wonder you won't let people vibe code. I mean, come on.
Yeah. You know, it's okay. I'm fine. You know what it is also, like people building physical engineering. Like I went to like my first big physical engineering conference, which was AIA this past January, and people are wearing suits and pants, and you know how, and they're so serious, and every submission, like there's like thousands of talks. No, literally thousands of, and like everything comes with a technical paper, and like here's the bibliography, and here's basically like this art, you know, peer reviewable, you know, like artifact that you can have. And I'm like, man, tech conferences are just like giant parties disguised as conferences. And like here I was at this very big conference that was absolutely not a party, and it was like a very academic conference. And so, you know, people do take themselves a lot more seriously, and rightfully so, right? Like, you know, they're like building things that like impact people's lives, you know. So that checks out. But it's like, man, like we have such a unique culture as software engineers that like isn't like the norm, you know, like looking at other industries, like, you know. So yeah, we're like adult children, you know. So
yeah, always be a kid.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely, yeah. I mean,
can't take it too seriously. I mean, seriously enough to not hurt people, but not so seriously that you can't enjoy the process, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like I can't wait to read the article that's like, you know, Texas-based podcast, or, you know, like Vibe Codes, you know, Vibe Codes app that like
rocket ship
brings down hospital grid, you know.
Yeah, I do have friends in high places, so I could do some things.
I'm just joking. I'm like, you know, it's fine. Have fun with your yeah.
All right, have fun out there, Mel. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you. It's
Everybody
fun, y'all.
Cool. Yep. Bye, friends.
Bye, friends.
Bye.